DZRJ 810 AM, the voice of the Philippines, proudly brings you Equal Justice. Find out the hottest legal issues of the week and hear the analysis. And now, here are your hosts, Attorney Ador Tolentino.
We're taking account of what transpires.
Attorney Paul Sangalang.
Your concern.
And Attorney June Quicho.
Right, of the country. And many tourist Good afternoon, Philippines, and good afternoon to all our listeners here at Equal Justice. We are here to discuss this afternoon a very hot issue this week, okay? And I'm referring to no less than the declaration by the Supreme Court of the disbursement acceleration program of the Office of the President through the Department of Budget and Management as unconstitutional. Well, at least most part of it. Okay? There will be discussion on which part of the DAP have been declared unconstitutional, or what acts constitute an unconstitutional act, and what are not declared as unconstitutional. And of course, to help us in our discussion this afternoon, we have with us the Executive Director of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines. She is also a former governor of the IVP, just like myself, a former governor, a very good friend of mine, Attorney Alice Rizos Vidal. Good afternoon, Alice.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to your listeners. Good afternoon, Ador. How are you?
I'm good, and thank you for coming over to the station. I know you're a very busy person, but it's such a good day to discuss this very important piece of jurisprudence, okay, that the Supreme Court has just came up with, and declaring to all and sundry that indeed this disbursement acceleration program of the Office of the President and through the DBP is indeed unconstitutional. I understand, Alice, that there are several parties, petitioners in this case before the Supreme Court, and one of which was our very own lawyers organization, the Integrated Bar of the Philippines.
Yes, aside from the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, there are other organizations like the Bayan Muna and the Pilconsa. And of
Pilconsa
course,
is
Philippine Constitutional Association of the Philippines.
Okay.
I am a member also of Pilconsa,
I
and of course, our organization, the Integrated Bar, and we're happy we're the last one to file. Nakahabol, in short.
Yeah, because it's like also a pambawi, di ba? Because
Yes.
I understand before the IVP had not come up with its position on the PDAF.
Yeah, we didn't come up with that. so to make bawi, we filed this DAP, and DAP is bigger than PDAP, I suppose.
That is what, in the words of Professor Leonor Briones, that is the mother of all pork.
Yes, meaning the biggest lechon.
Exactly.
In the budget.
Yeah. Now, I witnessed the first oral argument before the Supreme Court at the plenary session hall, and the justification that I heard then, that Secretary Abad, okay, the DBM Secretary Abad, set forth was that these were put to good use. These allocations were put to good use, and there are savings. They are savings from from unprogrammed activities. Things like that.
Yeah, they say that. You heard about it?
Yeah, I did.
Were you there when he was asked Is the President aware of this?
I think that was the second, but
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Was the President aware as far as the Secretary of
Yeah,
DBM?
of course.
He said
He
categorically
said that
he was aware.
Yeah, he was aware, and in fact, he was the short of saying the brain behind it.
Oh.
Yes, that's why we're all shocked. We're there.
And that's part already of the transcript of records of the Supreme Court so
Court.
far as the hearings on
Yeah.
the PDAP, on the DAP issue is concerned.
Yes, that's
Oh.
right. So
That should be telling. I think that's one evidence, at least admission on the part of the government through the Secretary of DBM, Secretary Abad, that the President was fully aware
yes, and
of
fully
the
aware.
DAP disbursements.
Yes, in fact, this DAP disbursement, and you can see with the history of DAP was that it was created first by President Cory Aquino through the CDF.
Yes, yes.
Yes, and then it was carried on by President Ramos, and it was called PDAP by President Estrada. DAP by President Estrada.
That's when the DAP started
That
to be
to
called
be called
such. Junior Time Estrada.
Yes.
Okay, and continued also by
Continued,
GMA.
of course, GMA, and then this President Aquino, because it was not called DAP at that time. It was called CDF, Countrywide Development Fund.
Yeah, but how was it different from the PDAP? Because many people believe that the PDAP is actually the successor to the the countrywide CWF.
That's right, that's right. This one, they called it DAP because the President controls all the, it did not pass anymore to the congressmen.
Yes, because supposedly these are from savings.
Savings.
But that's actually the crux of the matter here.
Yes.
How did the Supreme Court define savings? So that if it did not qualify to be a savings, then it could not be taken by or with reallocated by any agency for that matter to augment certain activities or programs.
Yes, that's right. The savings that they're talking about was for example, in one agency, if they were not able to fill up the personnel or they were not able to buy the proper equipment, so they got all the money or the excess funds from the different agencies, and then they transfer it to other agency, just like what they did in the impeachment of Supreme Court Justice Corona.
Yes, yes. It's like some sort of an incentive after the act.
Yes.
So putting it clearly, okay, savings. You have savings in a government agency if a project that is programmed for a particular budget year, right?
Yeah.
Is finished. And after it is finished and completed, there still remains certain amount of money in the allocated funds. So that's the savings. In other words, these are unused portion of the general fund that is allocated for that specific project that is implemented and completed. Okay?
That's part of also
Yeah.
of the savings.
Yeah, that's a savings. Or if an expenditure is part of the budget and the items intended for that expenditure were fulfilled, and yet there were still enough or some amount that were not fully spent, then that's also constitutive of savings.
Yes.
Yes,
And
yes.
then those unfilled positions or
But-
personnel.
Yeah, but in this case, there are savings from the point of view of Malacanang and DBM that even before and savings, you can only realize savings once
Even after.
the project is completed.
Yes.
Within the year, or after the budget year, there remains amount that wasn't spent for that particular item expenditure, right?
That's right.
But in this case, apparently hindi pa tapos yung
The fiscal year is not yet over,
Yeah, and
and they
then-
consider the money as savings already.
Exactly.
That's why.
May mga unprogrammed activities na
Yes, right.
tinatawag, di ba? So I think those were the things that I want our listeners to be informed, Attorney Alice, because in the Supreme Court decision, it says there are DAP acts that are declared unconstitutional.
I think there were 3 items declared unconstitutional. The cross-border releases
What is a cross-border
made
releases?
to, meaning to say that
From one
branch
to another?
Yeah, from one branch to another, from executive to the legislative, or to the legislative or the other branches, judiciary.
Or within
within.
the different branches of the
Yes,
executive,
yes.
different departments
So
of the
cross-border
executive.
means from executive allocation napunta sa legislative.
Mm.
Kagaya
That's
nung
right. Yung
supposed incentive after the impeachment of
Impeachment.
Corona, those who voted got at least 50 million each. Some got double the amount.
Yes.
Bakit kaya double the amount? Especially
Is-
Revilla and Estrada.
I think no, they got only
Take it
50.
100 million.
They got 50. 100 is Durlon and 99 is Chis Escudero.
Okay. So
Yeah.
mali yung mga naka-report. Because
Yeah,
I just saw it last night in
I
someone.
opened the DBM website.
So 50 lang.
50
each.
lang. I opened the DBM and they made sure that it's after the fact. We have a lot of
yeah, because unfilled
positions. Like judges, we have there are a lot of unfilled positions,
right.
but it was already budgeted.
Exactly.
So they got the savings from that before they.
Pero supposedly, ang pagkaintindi ko, di ba, the way things go in the government, yung budget system natin, when there's a savings,
They revert back.
they revert back to the
To the
National
National
Treasury.
It
So
should
that-
be the case.
Exactly. Kasi yan ang ating parang agency that is
National
responsible,
Treasurer,
yeah,
responsible
to
keep all the-
custody of our coffers,
our
diba?
funds, yeah.
DBM lang ang taga-process ng what is released to what project, to which agency, di ba? But yung pera mismo taga-hawak ang National Treasury.
But they passed this circular 541, which the court declared as
As
unconstitutional,
That's the one that
embodying everything, every savings, and they enumerated all kinds of savings that the executive can get through this disbursement acceleration fund.
You know what's so interesting? I was talking to several lawyers from the DBM before, and they were saying that these practices or these acts were practices that have been happening for the past
Exactly.
20, 30 years.
Exactly.
And then this administration comes in, and then they brand it. They come up with a systematic circular in order to I don't know how we
Maybe
put
to
operationalize, justify,
yeah.
just to give them some legal basis.
Exactly. Because knowing, I mean, Abad is a bright legal mind, Definitely, it was his authorship to come up with this DBM circular. Was that 54 or something?
541.
541.
And
Okay.
there was this observation that was made that I just couldn't help but laugh at. And the observation was, if they did not brand it and called it that DAP, we would still be in the dark. And
Exactly.
most everybody would not be aware that it's happening.
I tend to agree with that.
I think what
We didn't
happened.
give it a name.
I think what happened here is when Jingoy Estrada was when he heard that he's being persecuted,
Yeah,
he
actually
spilled the beans. That's right.
Yeah.
He spilled the beans.
I'd like to thank him for that. Okay, I mean, but then of course, it did not actually draw sympathy in his favor, but it opened up, a lot of
Opened up a Pandora box.
Pandora's box, the floodgate of all this, criticism against the pork barrel system. Na hindi lang, we're not just talking about the PDAF, but actually there's a bigger source of all these discretionary funds. And di pa natin pinag-uusapan yung malampaya dito.
I
di
would
ba?
like to ask the two of you, if Senator Bong and Senator Jinggoy will testify about that,
Should they be state witnesses?
Should they?
and they
It's so
will,
complex. No?
and they will claim that we could be a state witness to this. What do you think, guys?
Okay, so far as the DAP is concerned, wala pa namang kaso na criminal case.
How can we have criminal case if we don't have any evidence? Who will provide us with evidence, my friends?
Exactly. Kasi right now, the unconstitutionality as declared by the Supreme Court doesn't mean that someone is already guilty criminally or civilly or administratively. Wala pa. Sinasabi lang na yung ganyang programa or those 3 acts under the DAP, those are unconstitutional. Ergo, tapusin. Okay? It should not be done anymore. Okay? That's the import of the decision of the Supreme Court, di ba? Hindi pa naman sinasabi na guilty si ganito. Wala naman because the issue here is about the constitutionality of that allocation program. Di ba? Now, question, Alice. We are in the IBP and you are the executive director of the IBP at present. Okay? Would you be able to share with us, okay, and our listeners, what the IBP's next move will be in view of the declaration by the Supreme Court of the unconstitutionality of the DAP, and lawyers as we are, and medyo alam naman natin kung sino ang pupuntiryahin, di ba? Okay, we know who could be the culprit here, di ba? Okay, under what ground would the next move, legal move of the IBP be based on, and against whom kaya?
I heard
Hold your horses. I don't want you to answer yet because we will pause for a very, very short break in our studio and we will be right back with that answer. Okay?
Okay, thank you.